Get on your knees, old man. Pick up every piece of trash in this hallway, and I want to hear you say thank you after each one. Trent Klein stands in the center of the main corridor at Brookdale Prep, arms crossed, Letterman jacket stretched tight across his shoulders. His voice carries the lazy confidence of someone who has never faced a consequence in his life. Behind him, 4 members of the wrestling team form a loose semicircle, phones already recording. Henry Dawson, 62 years old, 20 years of service to this school, stands frozen with a mop in his weathered hands. His knuckles are white, his jaw is tight. But his eyes carry something worse than anger. They carry resignation. 30 students line the hallway. Some press against lockers, trying to disappear. Others watch with the uncomfortable fascination of witnesses to a car accident. A few laugh nervously, feeding the performance. I said knees. Trent steps closer, close enough that Dawson can smell the protein shake on his breath. You deaf as well as old? The mop clatters to the floor. Dawson's right knee buckles first, then his left. The linoleum is cold through his work pants. His hands shake as he reaches for a crumpled paper near Trent's pristine sneakers. Thank you, Dawson whispers. Louder, everyone should hear how grateful you are. Thank you. Trent grins, turning to his audience like an actor acknowledging applause. His black belt in Taekwondo is not just a credential. It is his identity, his shield, his excuse. 3 years of regional championships, a father who donated the new gymnasium, a principal who looks the other way. He is untouchable, or so he believes. At the far end of the hallway, a woman watches. She wears a simple gray blazer over a white shirt, sleeves rolled to her forearms where a fabric bandage wraps around her left wrist. Her name tag reads, Ella Hart, Leadership Program Advisor. She has been at Brookdale for exactly 9 days. In those 9 days, she has observed, cataloged, waited. Now, her waiting ends. Ella moves through the crowd with the kind of fluid economy that most people never notice. No wasted motion, no hesitation. Her footsteps are silent on the polished floor, and students part without realizing they are parting, responding to something in her presence that their conscious minds cannot identify. She stops 3 feet from Trent's back. That is enough. Her voice is not loud. It does not need to be. It carries the particular weight of someone who has given orders in places where orders mean the difference between living and dying. Trent turns slowly, the smile still playing on his lips. He looks her up and down, cataloging her the way he catalogs everyone. Threat level, social standing, usefulness. Excuse me? I said that is enough. Ella's gaze does not waver. Mr. Dawson has worked at this school for 20 years. He deserves respect. A ripple of whispers moves through the crowd. The phones swing toward this new development. Trent's smile widens, but something flickers behind his eyes. Uncertainty, perhaps, or anticipation. And who exactly are you to tell me anything? Someone who does not enjoy watching cruelty disguised as entertainment. Trent laughs, a sharp bark that echoes off the lockers. His friends join in, a chorus of sycophantic amusement. He takes a step toward Ella, using his height advantage, trying to loom. She does not step back. Look, lady. He puts deliberate condescension into the word. I do not know what kind of sensitivity training they had at whatever community college you came from, but this is Brookdale. We have a certain order here, and you? You are not part of it. Ella's expression does not change. Her breathing remains steady. 4 counts in, 4 counts hold, 4 counts out. A pattern so ingrained it requires no thought. Help Mr. Dawson up. Or what? The question hangs in the air like a challenge flag dropped at the start of a duel. Trent's friends shift their weight, sensing the possibility of real conflict. The recording phone's steady, waiting. Or nothing. Ella's voice remains level. I am asking you to do the right thing. No threats, no ultimatums, just a request from one human being to another. For a moment, something flickers across Trent's face, something that might, in another life, have been shame. But then one of his friends snickers, and the moment passes like a cloud across the sun. You know what? Trent rolls his shoulders, a habit from the dojo. I have trained in martial arts since I was 8 years old. 3-time regional champion. My instructor says I have the fastest hands he has ever seen in a student. He taps his chest where the embroidered black belt insignia sits on his jacket. So, When some substitute teacher walks up and tries to embarrass me in front of my school, I take that personally. He assumes a loose fighting stance, more theatrical than practical. But I am a gentleman, so I will give you one chance to walk away before I demonstrate exactly why nobody at Brookdale tells me what to do. The hallway goes silent. Even the phones seem to hold their breath. Ella glances down at Dawson, still on his knees, still clutching that crumpled piece of paper. Their eyes meet for just a moment, and something passes between them, recognition of a kind that transcends words. Then she looks back at Trent. I am not going to fight you. Smart choice. I am going to stop you. The first punch comes fast. Trent has genuinely good technique, and his speed is real. The blow would have connected with most people, would have sent them stumbling backward with blood streaming from a split lip. Ella is not most people. She shifts her weight a fraction of a second before contact, letting his fist whistle past her cheek. Her left hand comes up, catching his wrist. Her right palm strikes the inside of his elbow, hyperextending the joint just enough to break his balance. Her hip turns, her foot slides behind his ankle, and then Trent Klein, three-time regional taekwondo champion and untouchable prince of Brookdale Prep, is on the ground. The entire sequence takes less than 3 seconds. There is no dramatic impact, no thunderous collision, just a smooth, almost gentle transfer of momentum that leaves Trent staring at the ceiling, with his arm locked at an angle that promises significant pain if he moves. Ella's knee presses lightly against his shoulder. Her grip on his wrist is precise, clinical, applying exactly enough pressure to immobilize without injuring. Stay down, she says quietly. I do not want to hurt you. The hallway erupts into chaos. Students shout, phones swing wildly, someone screams for a teacher. Through it all, Ella maintains her position, her breathing still following that 4-count pattern, her eyes scanning the crowd for additional threats. Dawson rises slowly from his knees. His hands are no longer shaking. He looks at Ella with an expression that mixes gratitude with something else, something that makes him narrow his eyes slightly as he watches her stance, her grip, the almost mechanical efficiency of her movements. He knows those movements. He has seen them before, decades ago, in another life. But before he can speak, the crowd parts and a woman in a burgundy blazer pushes through, her heels clicking sharply against the floor. Principal Margot Keene's face cycles through shock, calculation, and carefully constructed outrage in the space of 2 heartbeats. What is the meaning of this? Ella releases Trent's wrist and stands smoothly, putting distance between them. Trent scrambles to his feet, his face flushed with humiliation and fury. She attacked me. His voice cracks on the accusation. I was just talking to the janitor, and she came out of nowhere and assaulted me. That is not what happened, a voice calls from the crowd. Officer Lena Price, the school resource officer, pushes forward. Her hand rests on her belt, not on her weapon, but ready. Her eyes move between Ella and Trent, reading the scene the way a detective reads a crime scene. I saw the whole thing from the stairwell. Klein threw the first punch. After she threatened me. I heard no threats. Keene raises her hand, silencing the argument. Her eyes fix on Ella with the intensity of someone calculating risk versus reward. Ms. Hart, my office, now. She turns to Trent, and her voice softens noticeably. Trent, are you injured? Should I call your father? I am fine. Trent straightens his jacket, trying to reclaim some dignity, but his eyes never leave Ella, and in them burns a promise of retribution. But she will not be when my dad hears about this. The crowd begins to disperse under the watchful eyes of arriving teachers, but the phones have already captured everything. Within minutes, the video will be on every device in the building. Within hours, it will reach the parents. Within days, it will define Ella Hart's tenure at Brookdale Prep, but she knew that when she stepped forward. Some choices carry consequences. She made peace with that long ago. Principal Keene's office smells like leather and ambition. The walls are covered with photographs. Keene shaking hands with local politicians, accepting awards, cutting ribbons. A shrine to a career built on image rather than substance. Ella sits in the chair across from the massive oak desk, her posture straight but not rigid. Keene paces behind her, letting the silence stretch, a technique meant to unnerve. It does not work. Do you have any idea what you have done? I prevented a student from being forced to humiliate an employee. You assaulted a minor. I defended myself after that minor attacked me. There are 30 witnesses and at least 10 recordings. Keene stops pacing. Her hands grip the back of her chair, knuckles whitening. Trent Klein's father donated $2 million to this school last year. He is on the board of trustees. He personally approved your hiring for this leadership program. I was not aware that donations purchased immunity from accountability. The words hang in the air. Keen's jaw tightens. I do not know where you came from, Ms. Hart. Your references were impeccable, but references can be manufactured. What I do know is that I have built this institution into one of the most respected preparatory schools on the East Coast, and I will not let some advisor with delusions of vigilante justice destroy everything I have worked for. She leans forward, her voice dropping to a hiss. You have 1 week, 1 incident, 1 complaint, 1 reason, and you are gone. Do you understand me? Ella meets her gaze without flinching. I understand you perfectly, Principal Keen. She rises and walks to the door, pausing with her hand on the handle. I also understand that Mr. Dawson has been accused of theft. Equipment missing from the technical storage rooms. I find it interesting that those accusations began the same week the Klein Foundation increased its oversight of school facilities. Keen's face goes pale, then red. Get out! Ella opens the door and steps into the hallway, where Officer Price is waiting, arms crossed, expression unreadable. That was either very brave or very stupid, Price says as they walk. Possibly both. I ran your background check when you started. Everything came back clean. Too clean, if you know what I mean. No social media, no credit issues, no traffic tickets. Just a perfect little paper trail that looks exactly like what a professional would create. Ella does not slow her pace. Some people simply live quiet lives, and some people have those quiet lives created for them. Price matches her stride. I have been a cop for 14 years. I know what trained looks like. What you did to Klein was not self-defense classes at the local gym. That was muscle memory. That was instinct developed through repetition in high-stress environments. They reach the door to the faculty parking lot. Ella pushes it open, letting the afternoon sunlight wash over them. What do you want, Officer Price? The truth. The truth is that Henry Dawson is being framed. The truth is that equipment is disappearing from this school, and someone is using him as a scapegoat. The truth is that Trent Klein is a symptom, not the disease. Ella turns to face her. The question is whether you want to help treat the disease or just manage the symptoms. Price studies her for a long moment. Whatever she sees seems to satisfy her, at least partially. I will be watching you, Ms. Hart. I am counting on it. That evening, Ella sits alone in her small apartment near the school. The space is Spartan. A bed, a desk, a chair, no photographs on the walls, no personal touches. The only items of significance sit on the desk in front of her, a worn challenge coin with markings that would mean nothing to most people, and a small notebook filled with coded entries. She picks up the coin, running her thumb across its surface. The metal is warm from her touch, smooth from years of handling. A gift from a friend who did not come home. Her phone buzzes. A message from a number with no contact name. Status update required. She types her response carefully. Asset integration proceeding. Local complications but manageable. Primary target showing patterns consistent with intel. Recommend continued observation. The reply comes 30 seconds later. Maintain cover. Trust the process. She puts the phone down and stares at the wall, at the shadows gathering in the corners as the sun sets. 9 days at Brookdale Prep. 9 days of playing the role of the idealistic new advisor. 9 days of watching, waiting, cataloging the patterns that everyone else seems to miss. The missing equipment is not sports gear. She confirmed that during her 3rd day, when she accidentally took a wrong turn into the technical storage area. Drone components, communication devices, the kind of hardware that has no place in a high school. Someone is using Brookdale as a way station. And Henry Dawson, with his 20 years of loyal service and his keys to every room in the building, makes the perfect fall guy. She picks up the coin again, and for just a moment, she is not in this small apartment. She is in a desert, under stars that burn brighter than any city sky, listening to the distant sound of rotors. Then the moment passes, and she is Ella Hart again. Leadership program advisor, nobody special, nobody dangerous, just a woman who knows how to wait. The next morning arrives gray and drizzling, the kind of autumn weather that seeps into bones and dampens spirits. Ella reaches the school early, before most students, before most staff. The hallways are empty except for the echo of her footsteps and the distant hum of the heating system. She finds Dawson in the maintenance closet, organizing his supplies with the methodical precision of someone who takes pride in work that others overlook. Mr. Dawson. He looks up, and again she sees that flicker of recognition in his eyes, the way he studies her stance, her hands, the way she positions herself near the door. Ms. Hart, come to check on the old man? I came to thank you for not saying anything yesterday, when I had Klein on the ground. I saw you notice something. Dawson sets down the bottle of cleaning solution he was holding. His weathered face arranges itself into careful neutrality. I spent 8 years in the Navy. Machinist's mate, USS Constellation. Been out longer than I was in, but you do not forget certain things. He pauses. That hold you used. That is not something they teach in civilian dojos. No, it is not. You going to tell me who you really are? I am exactly who my paperwork says I am. A leadership advisor here to help young people develop character and discipline. Dawson laughs, a dry sound without much humor. And I am just a janitor who likes to collect old military challenge coins. He reaches into his pocket and pulls out a small object, holding it up to the fluorescent light. A Navy coin, older than the one Ella keeps, with different markings. Found this near the technical storage room last week, right before the accusations started. Ella's eyes narrow. She recognizes the insignia. Where exactly did you find this? Inside one of the air vents, like someone dropped it while they were doing something they should not have been doing. He hands it to her. I kept it because I knew it was important. I just did not know why. She turns the coin over in her fingers. The serial number etched into the edge is partially worn, but still legible. Cross-reference it with the right database, and it could identify its owner. Mr. Dawson, you may have just given me exactly what I need. To do what? To prove that you are not the thief, and to find out who is. He studies her for another long moment, then nods slowly. I do not know what you are really doing here, Ms. Hart, but I know good people from bad ones. Whatever you are hunting, I hope you catch it. She slips the coin into her pocket. I intend to. The day unfolds with the deceptive normalcy of routine. Classes, meetings, the steady rhythm of an academic institution going about its business. But beneath the surface, currents are shifting. Ella notices the whispers that follow her through the halls. The students who stop talking when she approaches. The teachers who avoid eye contact. The video from yesterday has done its work. In some versions, she is a hero who stood up to a bully. In others, she is a violent outsider who attacked a student without provocation. The truth, as always, lies somewhere in between, and nobody seems interested in finding it. At lunch, she sits alone in the faculty cafeteria, picking at a salad she does not taste. Her mind is elsewhere, running calculations, assessing threats, planning next moves. Mind if I join you? Officer Price sets her tray down without waiting for an answer. Her uniform is crisp, her badge catching the light. I did some more digging last night, Price says, keeping her voice low. The equipment that has gone missing over the past 6 months has a combined value of over $300,000. But here is the interesting part. The insurance claims have all been filed and paid out. The school is actually profiting from the theft, which means someone in administration is involved. Has to be. The inventory reports are falsified. The security camera footage for the storage areas has convenient gaps. And every single incident happened during events when Dawson was the only maintenance staff on duty. Ella pushes her salad aside. Someone is building a case against him, making sure that when the authorities finally get involved, all the evidence points in one direction. Dawson is the perfect scapegoat. No family, no connections. No one who would ask questions if he suddenly went to prison. Price's jaw tightens. I hate this. I became a cop to protect people, not to watch them get railroaded. Then help me protect him. How? Ella leans forward, lowering her voice to barely above a whisper. Tonight, after the building closes, meet me at the east entrance at 9. Bring your body cam. And Officer Price, make sure it is recording. Price holds her gaze for a long moment. Whatever internal debate she is having resolves itself with a single nod. 9 o'clock. I will be there. The afternoon brings a new complication. Ella is walking between buildings when she hears the unmistakable sound of cruel laughter coming from behind the gymnasium. She rounds the corner to find Trent and his usual entourage surrounding a younger student, a freshman with glasses and a backpack that looks too heavy for his thin frame. The boy is pressed against the brick wall, tears streaming down his face as Trent holds something above his head. Give it back, the freshman's voice cracks. Please, that is my brother's watch. He gave it to me before he deployed. Then he should not have left it with someone so pathetic. Trent examines the watch with theatrical interest. You know what? I think this would look better on me. Please. Ella clears her throat. Mr. Klein, step away from the student. Trent's head snaps toward her, and his smile turns predatory. Well, the kung fu teacher. Come back for round 2? I came to tell you that whatever you think you are doing, it ends now. Or what? You will flip me again? Because I have been thinking about that. He hands the watch to one of his friends and steps toward her, rolling his shoulders. You got lucky yesterday. Caught me off guard. But I have been training since I could walk. You are just some nobody who learned a few tricks. Then you have nothing to worry about. Ella does not move. Give the boy his watch and walk away. Make me. The words are barely out of his mouth when he lunges, faster than yesterday, more controlled. He has learned from his mistake. He is not throwing wild punches now. He is using proper technique, combinations designed to overwhelm. Ella reads each attack like words on a page. She does not counter. She does not strike. She simply moves, redirecting, deflecting, letting his own momentum carry him past her again and again. It is humiliating, and they both know it. Stop running. Sweat beads on Trent's forehead. Fight me for real. I am not going to hurt you, Trent. Why not? He throws another combination, and she flows around it like water around a stone. Scared? Because hurting you would not solve anything. She catches his wrist again, but this time she does not take him down. She simply holds him, frozen mid-strike, her eyes locked on his. You are angry, I understand that, but this is not who you have to be. For just a moment, something cracks in his facade. His breathing is ragged, his muscles trembling, and in his eyes she sees not a bully, but a frightened boy wearing armor made of aggression. Then the moment shatters. Trent! A man's voice, sharp and commanding. Victor Klein strides across the courtyard, his $1,000 suit immaculate, his silver hair perfect, his face carved from granite. He looks at Ella the way he might look at an insect on his windshield. What is going on here? Dad, Trent pulls away from Ella's grip, stepping back. She started it. Did she? Victor's eyes rake over Ella, cataloging, dismissing. You must be the advisor everyone is talking about. The one who assaulted my son yesterday. Your son attacked me after I asked him to stop bullying a staff member. That is not what the video shows. The video shows exactly what happened. Multiple students have confirmed it. Victor smiles, and there is no warmth in it whatsoever. Ms. Hart, let me be very clear about something. I have donated more money to this school than you will earn in your lifetime. I sit on the board of trustees. I personally approved every hire for the past 3 years. He steps closer, using his height to intimidate. One word from me, and you will not just lose this job. You will never work in education again. Ella does not flinch. Her breathing remains steady. 4 counts. Is that a threat, Mr. Klein? Consider it a friendly warning. Stay away from my son. Stay in your lane, and understand that some battles cannot be won, no matter how many tricks you know. He turns and walks away, snapping his fingers for Trent to follow. The boy hesitates for just a moment, glancing back at Ella with an expression she cannot quite read. Then he is gone, and she is alone in the courtyard with the freshman, who is still pressed against the wall, still crying. She walks over and crouches down to his level. Are you all right? He shakes his head. What is your name? Dylan. Dylan Reeves. Dylan, I am going to get your watch back, I promise. But I need you to do something for me first. What? Go to Officer Price. Tell her everything that happened here. Every word, every detail. Can you do that? He wipes his eyes and nods. Good. Now go. She watches him run toward the main building, then turns and stares at the spot where Victor Klein disappeared. The threat was obvious enough, but underneath it, she heard something else. Fear. Victor Klein is afraid of something, and afraid people make mistakes. The hours until 9 o'clock pass slowly. Ella teaches her scheduled classes, attends her scheduled meetings, plays her role with the practiced ease of someone who has worn many faces in many places. But beneath the surface, her mind is working, fitting pieces together. The coin Dawson found, Victor Klein's reaction, the pattern of missing equipment, it all connects. She just needs to find the thread. At 8:45, she slips out of her apartment and makes her way to the east entrance of the school. The building is dark, the parking lot empty except for the security lights that cast pools of orange across the wet asphalt. Price is already there, leaning against her cruiser, body cam clipped to her uniform. You came. I said I would. Price pushes off the car. So, what is the plan? The storage room where the equipment has been disappearing. I want to see it for myself. Breaking and entering, that could cost us both our jobs. Not if we find evidence of a crime in progress. Price considers this, then nods. You have been doing this a while, have you not? Ella does not answer. She pulls out a set of keys, copies she made during her first week, and leads the way to a side door. Inside, the school is different at night. The hallways that buzz with life during the day are silent and shadowed, the lockers standing like sentinels in the darkness. Their footsteps seem unnaturally loud, each sound magnified by the emptiness. They reach the technical storage area without incident. Ella unlocks the door and slips inside. Price closed behind. The room is larger than she expected, filled with shelves of equipment covered in dust and neglect. But one section stands out. A cleared space near the back wall, where the dust has been disturbed recently, where the floor shows marks from heavy objects being moved. Over here, Ella moves toward the back, her flashlight beam cutting through the darkness. Price follows, and they find what they are looking for. A stack of boxes, newer than everything else in the room, marked with shipping labels from a company that does not exist. Inside, drone components, communication equipment, the kind of hardware that belongs in a military supply chain, not a high school storage room. Price breathes. This is not just theft. This is something else entirely. Someone is using the school as a transfer point. Ella photographs the boxes with her phone. Ship the equipment here under the guise of educational supplies, move it out through the loading dock, and if anyone asks questions, blame the janitor. Klein. It has to be Klein. His company handles security contracts for half the military bases on the East Coast. He has the access, the infrastructure, and the motive. Ella turns to face her. But we need more than circumstantial evidence. We need documentation, financial records, communications. There is a safe in Keen's office, Price says slowly. I noticed it during a meeting last month. The kind with a digital lock and a paper backup system. Too risky. And Keen is a participant, not the mastermind. Whatever she knows, it is limited. A sound from somewhere in the building makes them both freeze. Footsteps, distant but approaching. Ella kills her flashlight and signals for silence. They press against the shelving units, hidden in shadow, as the footsteps grow louder. The storage room door opens. In the dim light that spills from the hallway, two figures enter. Trent Klein and one of his wrestling teammates, the one who was holding Dylan's watch earlier. Are you sure about this? The teammate's voice is nervous. My dad said to check on the shipment. Make sure everything is still here. Trent moves toward the boxes with the familiarity of someone who has done this before. The transfer is happening tomorrow night. He needs to know nothing has been disturbed. Ella's hand finds Price's arm, a silent command to wait. This is messed up, man. The teammate shifts his weight. I did not sign up for whatever this is. You signed up for a free ride to any college you want. My dad's connections can make that happen. All you have to do is keep your mouth shut and help move some boxes. Trent pulls out his phone, using it as a flashlight. One more job, then we are done. What if someone finds out? Trent laughs, a harsh sound. Who is going to find out? The cops? That useless SRO who spends all day on her phone? The janitor they are going to arrest next week? He gestures at the room. My dad owns this town. Nothing happens here without his permission. Price's hand moves to her weapon. Ella shakes her head firmly. Not yet. Trent finishes his inspection and heads for the door, his teammate close behind. Tomorrow night, 10 o'clock, be ready. The door closes, footsteps fade. Ella counts to 60 before speaking. Did your body cam catch that? Price nods, her face pale in the darkness. Every word. Then we have 48 hours to build a case. Tomorrow night, when they make the transfer, we end this. They slip out of the storage room and back into the night, the weight of what they have discovered pressing down on both of them. Behind them, the school looms dark and silent, keeping its secrets for one more day. At her apartment, Ella sits on the bed and stares at the coin Dawson gave her. The serial number is clear now. She has already run it through 3 different databases, and each search has returned the same result. The coin belongs to a unit that officially does not exist, which means someone with very high clearance is involved. Someone who has access to classified equipment and the means to move it without detection. This is bigger than Victor Klein, bigger than Brookdale Prep. She is looking at the edge of something vast and dark, and she cannot see where it ends. Her phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. They know you are asking questions. Watch your back. She deletes the message and lies down, staring at the ceiling. Tomorrow. Everything changes tomorrow. The morning comes too quickly, bright sunlight cutting through the blinds like a blade. Ella goes through her routine mechanically. Shower, dress, breakfast she barely tastes. Her mind is already at the school, already running through scenarios and contingencies. She arrives to find chaos. Students crowd the main hallway, phones out, voices raised. Teachers try to restore order without success. At the center of the storm stands Principal Keene, her face the color of old paper, her hands shaking. What happened? Ella pushes through the crowd. Officer Price appears at her elbow, voice low. Someone leaked the video from yesterday. The one where you stopped Trent in the courtyard. I thought that video made me look reasonable. Not that video, a different one, edited to make it look like you were the aggressor. Price's jaw tightens. It has been sent to every parent in the district. The Board of Trustees is holding an emergency meeting in an hour. Ella's stomach drops, but her face remains calm. Klein. Has to be. He is cutting off the investigation before it can start. Keene spots Ella through the crowd, and her expression shifts from panic to fury. She stalks over, heels clicking like gunshots. You. She jabs a finger at Ella's chest. You are suspended, effective immediately. Security will escort you off campus within the hour. On what grounds? Inappropriate conduct with a student? Violation of school safety protocols? Take your pick. Keene's voice rises, ensuring the crowd can hear. I warned you, Ms. Hart. I told you what would happen if you caused problems. The only problem here is that someone is using this school to traffic stolen military equipment, and you are either too blind or too complicit to see it. The words land like a bomb. The crowd goes silent. Keene's face cycles through shock, rage, and fear before settling on controlled fury. Security. Now! Two men in blue blazers materialize from the crowd, moving toward Ella with the practiced efficiency of professionals. Wait, Price steps between them. As the school resource officer, I have jurisdiction over safety matters on this campus. And right now, I am conducting an investigation into potential criminal activity. You have no authority to. I have exactly as much authority as I need. Price pulls out her phone and holds it up. This is a recording from last night. Trent Klein and an accomplice in the storage room discussing an illegal shipment scheduled for tonight. Want me to play it for everyone? Keene's face goes white. I thought so. Price turns to the security guards. Stand down. Now. The moment stretches, taut as a wire. Then Keene makes a decision. Her hand darts to her pocket, pulling out a phone. Victor, we have a problem. The next few hours become a blur of confrontation and consequence. Victor Klein arrives within 30 minutes, lawyers in tow, his face a mask of calculated outrage. He demands the recording be suppressed. He threatens lawsuits. He invokes his position on the board, none of it matters. Because Price has already sent copies to 3 different federal agencies, and because Dawson, quiet loyal Henry Dawson, has spent the morning gathering every piece of evidence he has collected over 20 years of working in a building full of secrets. Logbooks showing discrepancies in equipment inventory, photos of shipping labels from companies that do not exist, and buried in the maintenance records, a pattern of security camera outages that correspond exactly to the dates of each theft. By noon, FBI agents are pulling into the parking lot. By 2, they are taking statements. By 4, Victor Klein is in handcuffs, his lawyers scrambling to negotiate a deal that does not exist. But the moment Ella will remember, the one that cuts through all the chaos and noise, happens in between. She is standing in the hallway outside Keene's office when Trent finds her. He looks smaller somehow, diminished, the armor of arrogance stripped away. You knew. His voice is hoarse. The whole time. You knew who you were, what you could do, and you just let me attack you. Yes. Why? Why did you not just take me down on day 1? End all of this before it started? Ella turns to face him fully. In his eyes, she sees not the bully who tormented Dawson, but a boy standing in the ruins of everything he thought he understood. Because taking you down would not have changed anything. The system that created you would have found another Trent, another scapegoat, another victim. She pauses. I needed to expose the disease, not just treat the symptoms. My dad, his voice breaks. I did not know. I swear I did not know what he was really doing. I thought it was just business. What we do not know can still destroy us. What matters is what we do when we finally see the truth. He stares at her for a long moment, tears building in his eyes that he refuses to let fall. Then he turns and walks away, toward the office where federal agents are waiting to take his statement. She watches him go, and for just a moment, she allows herself to feel something like hope. Then her phone buzzes, a message from a number she does not recognize, but knows. Phase 1 complete. Phase 2 begins. New coordinates incoming. She deletes the message and walks toward the exit, where Price and Dawson are waiting. "It is over," Price says. "We got them." Ella shakes her head slowly. "We got this cell, but whatever operation was running through here, it does not end with Victor Klein." "How do you know?" She pulls the coin from her pocket, the one Dawson found, and holds it up to the light. This belonged to someone with access to equipment that is not supposed to exist. Someone who is still out there. Dawson takes the coin, turns it over in his weathered hands. When he speaks, his voice is quiet. "You are not just an advisor, are you, Ms. Hart?" Ella meets his eyes, and for the first time, she lets the mask slip. Just a fraction, just enough for him to see what lies beneath. "I am exactly what I need to be." She walks out into the afternoon sunlight, leaving Brookdale Prep behind. But as she reaches her car, she pauses, looks back at the building where she spent 9 days pretending to be ordinary, where she watched a bully learn that strength without honor is just violence, where an old man with a mop and a lifetime of dignity stood up when it mattered most. Her phone buzzes again. Coordinates confirmed, transport ready, new identity prepared. She types her response, acknowledged, 1 hour. Then she gets in her car and drives toward whatever comes next. Because this is what she does. This is who she is. A woman who walks into broken places and finds the cracks, who wears 100 faces but never forgets her own, who carries a coin in her pocket and a mission in her heart. The story of Brookdale Prep is ending, but her story continues. And somewhere out there, the people who thought they could hide behind money and power and institutional silence are about to learn a lesson that Trent Klein learned in a hallway. Some women cannot be bought. Some women cannot be bullied, and some women carry more than they show. The storage room door splinters under Ella's shoulder. She does not waste time with locks or keys. Dawson is inside, and the sound she heard through the wall, that ragged gasping, tells her everything she needs to know about how much time she has left. The fluorescent lights flicker overhead, casting the room in stuttering shadows. Shelves of equipment line the walls, boxes stacked haphazardly, the evidence of years of careful theft hidden in plain sight. And in the center of it all, Henry Dawson lies on the concrete floor, one hand clutching his chest, his face the color of old ash. Trent stands over him, USB drive in his fist, his expression cycling between fury and fear. 2 of his wrestling teammates flank the door, blocking the exit, their confidence evaporating as they register who just broke through. "Get away from him!" Ella's voice carries the particular flatness of someone who has stopped asking. "You!" Trent's hand shakes as he points at her. "You were supposed to be gone. Keen suspended you." Suspension does not mean I stop caring about people. She moves toward Dawson, but Trent steps into her path, desperation making him bold. "No, you do not get to do this. You do not get to walk in here and destroy everything." His voice cracks. "Do you have any idea what is on this drive? What it means?" "I know exactly what it means." Ella does not slow down. "It means your father has been using this school to traffic stolen military equipment. It means Henry Dawson has been framed to cover that operation. And it means you have about 30 seconds to decide what kind of man you want to be. My father," Trent's face contorts. This is not what it looks like." "It is exactly what it looks like." She is close enough now to see the sweat beading on his forehead, the tremor in his hands. "The question is whether you are going to help him bury an innocent man, or whether you are going to do the right thing for the first time in your life." Behind Trent, Dawson's breathing grows more labored. Each gasp sounds like paper tearing. "Move!" The word comes out cold enough to frost glass. Trent does not move, so Ella moves him. She does not strike. She does not need to. Her hand catches his wrist as he raises it defensively, twisting just enough to break his balance. Her hip turns, her foot slides, and Trent stumbles sideways into a shelf of boxes, scattering equipment across the floor. The USB drive clatters from his grip. Ella ignores it. She drops to her knees beside Dawson, her hands already moving through the assessment she learned in places far from here, in situations far worse than this. "Mr. Dawson, Henry, can you hear me?" His eyes flutter open, finding her face. "Ms. Hart, do not talk. Just breathe, slow and steady." His pulse is rapid but present. His breathing is labored but not absent. Cardiac event possibly. Panic attack more likely. Either way, he needs calm and he needs care, and he needs to not be lying on a concrete floor, surrounded by people who want him silenced. She looks up at Trent, who has pulled himself upright, his expression a battlefield of conflicting emotions. "Call 911. Now." I cannot. If they come here, they will find evidence of crimes committed by adults who should have known better. Crimes you did not commit. She holds his gaze. "You still have a choice, Trent. Your father made his. Do not let him make yours." The moment stretches, taut as wire. Then Trent pulls out his phone. His teammates move to stop him, but something in his expression freezes them in place. This is not the Trent they know, the golden boy who always has an angle. This is someone younger, someone smaller, someone who has just discovered that the foundation of his world is built on sand. "I need an ambulance at Brookdale Prep," he says into the phone. "Technical storage building. There is a man having some kind of cardiac episode." A pause. "Yes, I will stay on the line." Ella turns her attention back to Dawson, monitoring his breathing, keeping him stable, keeping him conscious. But her peripheral vision catches movement at the door. Officer Price steps through the shattered frame, weapon drawn, body cam light glowing red. Everybody freeze. The room crystallizes into stillness. Price's eyes sweep the scene, cataloging, assessing. The broken door, the scattered equipment, Dawson on the floor, Ella kneeling beside him, Trent with a phone to his ear, two wrestlers pressed against the shelving. "What happened here? Mr. Dawson was assaulted and left in distress." Ella's voice remains level. "Trent Klein is currently calling for medical assistance. The USB drive on the floor contains evidence of ongoing criminal activity involving stolen military equipment." Price holsters her weapon, but keeps her hand near it. "And you just happened to be here to witness all of this?" "I came because I heard someone was in trouble. The door was locked from outside. Convenient. Necessary." Price moves to check on Dawson, her training taking over despite her suspicions. As she kneels, her shoulder brushes against Ella's arm, and something catches her attention. Her eyes narrow. "Your sleeve is torn." Ella glances down. The fabric of her blazer has ripped along the seam, probably during her entry, exposing the bandage that wraps around her forearm. And beneath the bandage, visible through a gap where the adhesive has come loose, a dark line of ink. Price reaches out, not asking permission, and pulls the bandage aside. The tattoo is not large, perhaps 4 inches long, running along the inside of her forearm. A trident crossed with an anchor, surrounded by text too small to read from this angle, and beneath it, a serial number in stark black digits. The silence that follows is absolute. Dawson's head turns, his eyes focusing on the exposed ink despite his condition. His breath catches for a reason that has nothing to do with his heart. "That is..." His voice comes out as barely a whisper. "That is Navy Special Warfare, SEAL Trident." He swallows hard. "I saw those marks every day for 8 years. I know what they mean." Price stares at the tattoo, then at Ella's face, then back at the tattoo. The pieces are falling into place behind her eyes, rearranging everything she thought she knew. "Who are you?" Ella does not answer. She is watching Trent, who has lowered his phone, who is staring at her arm with an expression of dawning horror. "You knew." His voice is barely audible. "The whole time, when I attacked you in the hallway, when you took me down in 3 seconds, when my father threatened you." He shakes his head slowly. "You could have destroyed me. You could have destroyed all of us, but you just stood there." "Yes." "Why?" Ella rises to her feet, leaving Price to monitor Dawson. She crosses to where Trent stands, stopping close enough that he cannot look away. "Because taking you down would not have fixed anything. You are not the disease, Trent. You are a symptom. And symptoms do not go away until you treat the cause. My father is the cause. Your father is part of it. The system that let him operate is bigger. The people who looked the other way are everywhere. If I had revealed myself on day 1, everything would have gone underground. The evidence would have disappeared. The witnesses would have been silenced." She pauses. including Mr. Dawson. So, you let me humiliate you, let me attack you, let everyone think you were just some random advisor who got lucky. I let you show everyone who you really are, and then I let you choose whether to stay that person or become someone better. Trent's eyes fill with tears he refuses to shed. I did not know what my father was doing, the equipment, the cover-up, framing the janitor. I thought I was protecting our family. You were protecting a lie. Ella's voice softens, but does not waver. The question now is whether you are brave enough to face the truth. Before he can respond, the sound of sirens cuts through the night. Red and blue lights paint the windows as multiple vehicles pull into the parking lot. Price stands, her hand moving to her radio. That is more than just an ambulance. I made some calls. Ella retrieves the USB drive from the floor, holding it up to the light. The evidence on this drive connects to federal investigations that have been stalled for months. The people who need to see it are already on their way. Federal? Price shakes her head. Who exactly do you work for? I work for the people who cannot protect themselves. Ella looks at Dawson, still prone on the floor but breathing easier now. People like Mr. Dawson, people who spend 20 years doing thankless work, only to be sacrificed when someone more powerful needs a scapegoat. The door fills with bodies, EMTs rushing to Dawson, FBI agents in tactical gear securing the room. A woman in a dark suit who takes the USB drive from Ella with a nod of recognition that speaks to history shared and debts owed. Through it all, Ella stands still, a calm center in a storm of activity. And through it all, Trent watches her. When the EMTs lift Dawson onto a stretcher, Ella walks beside him, her hand resting lightly on his arm. You are going to be fine, she says quietly. The doctors will take care of you. And when you wake up tomorrow, this will all be over. Dawson grabs her wrist with surprising strength. Why? Why did you do all of this? You could have just arrested them. You did not need to protect me. Ella is silent for a moment. When she speaks, her voice carries a weight that transforms the simple words into something closer to prayer. 20 years ago, when I was 16, my mother worked as a housekeeper for a wealthy family. They accused her of stealing jewelry, no evidence, no investigation, just their word against hers. She pauses. She lost her job, lost our apartment, lost her health, eventually, from the stress of fighting a battle she could not win. Dawson's grip tightens. A stranger helped us. Someone with connections, with resources, with the ability to dig into the truth. They found the real thief, cleared my mother's name, and when I asked them why, they said something I have never forgotten. What? They said that strength means nothing if you do not use it to lift others. Ella meets his eyes. Someone lifted my family when we needed it most. I have spent my entire life trying to repay that debt. Not to them, to everyone who reminds me of us. The stretcher reaches the ambulance. Dawson releases her wrist, but his eyes remain locked on her face. Thank you. The words come out rough, thick with emotion, for seeing me when everyone else looked right through. I always see you, Mr. Dawson. People like you are the reason I do what I do. The ambulance doors close, the sirens wail, and Ella stands alone in the parking lot, watching the red lights disappear into the night. Footsteps behind her, Price approaching with caution. The FBI is taking over the scene. They want to interview everyone, but they said you are cleared to leave whenever you want. A pause. Professional courtesy, they called it. That was kind of them. Kind is not the word I would use. Price stops beside her, arms crossed. You played all of us. The school, Keen, me, even Klein, and he never saw it coming. I did what was necessary. Was it? Was lying to everyone, pretending to be something you are not? Was that really the only way? Ella turns to face her. In the flashing lights of the remaining emergency vehicles, her expression is unreadable. If I had announced myself on day one, Victor Klein would have known within the hour. He has contacts in law enforcement, in government, in places that are supposed to be secure. The operation would have scattered. The evidence would have been destroyed, and Mr. Dawson would have gone to prison for crimes he did not commit. So you let yourself become a target instead. I let them think I was weak. Let them think I was nobody, because nobody watches the nobody. She almost smiles. By the time they realize their mistake, it was too late. Price is quiet for a long moment. When she speaks again, her voice has lost its edge. I have been a cop for 14 years. I thought I understood how justice works. But watching you these past weeks, she shakes her head. You play a longer game than anyone I have ever met. Justice is not loud. Ella's gaze drifts back toward the school, toward the building where everything began. It is patient. It waits for the right moment. And when that moment comes, it moves so fast that the guilty never see it coming. Is that something they taught you in SEAL training? That is something I taught myself. The sound of raised voices draws their attention. Near the main entrance, a cluster of agents surrounds a figure being led out in handcuffs. Victor Klein, his $1,000 suit rumpled, his silver hair disheveled, his face a mask of barely contained rage. He sees Ella across the parking lot. Their eyes meet. You. He tries to lunge toward her, but the agents hold him back. I will destroy you. I do not care what agency you work for. I have friends in places you cannot imagine. You will never work again. You will never be safe again. I will spend every penny I have making sure you pay for this. Ella walks toward him, slow and deliberate, until she stands close enough to speak without raising her voice. Mr. Klein, your friends have already been informed of your arrest. Half of them are preparing to testify against you in exchange for reduced sentences. The other half are busy destroying any evidence that might connect them to your operation. She pauses. You have no friends. You have no allies. You have nothing except the consequences of your own choices. You do not know who you are dealing with. I know exactly who I am dealing with. A man who built his empire on theft and intimidation. A man who framed an innocent worker to cover his crimes. A man who taught his son that strength means crushing anyone who gets in your way. She leans closer. Your empire is over, Mr. Klein, and your son is going to learn that there are other ways to be strong. Victor Klein's face contorts with impotent fury, but before he can respond, the agents are pulling him toward a waiting vehicle, his protest swallowed by the night. Ella watches until the car disappears, then turns to find Trent standing nearby, his arms wrapped around himself, his expression hollow. They arrested him. Trent's voice sounds like it belongs to someone much younger. My father. They actually arrested him. Yes. What happens now? To me, to my family, to... He trails off, unable to complete the thought. Ella considers him for a long moment. This boy who terrorized his peers, who humiliated a man twice his age, who carried his father's cruelty like a banner and called it strength, but also this boy who called 911 when it mattered, who chose truth over loyalty when the stakes were highest, who is standing here now, stripped of everything that made him feel powerful, asking what comes next. What happens now is up to you. She moves closer, not threatening, not comforting, simply present. You are going to face consequences, community service, counseling, restrictions that will feel unfair, and punishment that will feel excessive. Your college plans will change, your friendships will change. Everything you thought your life would be is going to look different. That sounds like the end of everything. It sounds like the beginning. Her voice softens. Trent, you have spent your whole life being your father's son, living by his rules, measuring yourself by his standards. And where did it get you? Standing in a parking lot, watching him being hauled away in handcuffs. I do not know how to be anyone else. Then learn. She puts her hand on his shoulder, a gesture she rarely makes. Find out who Trent Klein is when he is not trying to be Victor Klein Jr. You might be surprised by what you discover. His eyes meet hers, searching for something. Judgment, maybe, condemnation. Instead, he finds something that looks almost like faith. You really think I can change? After everything I did? I think change is a choice we make every single day. I think you made a good choice tonight, and I think if you keep making good choices, eventually they become who you are. She removes her hand. But it starts with one step, one decision, one moment of courage. What if I fail? Then you get up and try again. That is what strength really means. The sound of her name being called interrupts the moment. An agent, gesturing from near the command vehicle. I have to go. Ella steps back. But Trent, tomorrow morning go find Mr. Dawson. Look him in the eye and tell him you are sorry. Not because someone told you to, because you mean it. She walks away before he can respond, leaving him standing alone in the parking lot, surrounded by the wreckage of everything he thought he knew. The next morning breaks clear and cold, the kind of autumn day that feels like an ending and a beginning wrapped into one. Ella stands in the main hallway of Brookdale Prep, watching students stream past on their way to classes. The news has spread, as news always does. Victor Klein's arrest, Principal Keen's suspension. The revelation that their school had been used as a way station for stolen military equipment. The students move differently now, quieter, more thoughtful. The invisible hierarchies that define their social world have been shattered, and no one is quite sure what will replace them. Near the main office, a small ceremony is taking place. Henry Dawson, released from the hospital early this morning with a clean bill of health, stands before a gathering of staff and students. The new interim principal, a soft-spoken woman named Dr. Torres, reads from an official document. For 2 decades of dedicated service to this institution, for integrity in the face of false accusations, for courage when it would have been easier to be silent. She looks up at Dawson with genuine respect. Henry Dawson, on behalf of Brookdale Prep and the entire district, please accept our deepest apologies and our sincere gratitude. Applause fills the hallway. Dawson ducks his head, uncomfortable with the attention, but unable to hide the emotion in his eyes. When the applause fades, a figure steps forward from the crowd. Trent Klein looks like he has not slept. His clothes are wrinkled, his hair is uncombed. The arrogance that once defined him has been replaced by something rawer, more human. The hallway goes silent. Trent stops in front of Dawson, and for a moment, he just stands there, unable to find the words. When he finally speaks, his voice is barely above a whisper. "Mr. Dawson." He swallows hard. "I am sorry." The words hang in the air. "I am sorry for every time I made you feel small, every time I treated you like you did not matter, every time I used my father's name like a weapon against people who could not fight back." His voice cracks. "You worked here for 20 years. You took care of this building. Took care of us, even when we did not deserve it. And I repaid that with cruelty and contempt." Dawson says nothing, but his eyes never leave Trent's face. "I cannot undo what I did. I know that. But I want you to know that I see you now, really see you." Trent's hands shake at his sides. "And I am going to spend the rest of my life trying to become someone worthy of the second chance I do not deserve." The silence stretches. Then Dawson does something no one expects. He reaches out and puts his hand on Trent's shoulder. "Son," his voice is rough but kind. "I have been watching angry young men my whole life. Men who think strength means making others feel weak. Men who pass that poison down to their children like an inheritance." He pauses. "What you just did, standing up in front of everyone and admitting you were wrong, that takes more courage than any fist ever thrown." Trent's composure breaks. Tears stream down his face, and he makes no effort to hide them. "I do not forgive you yet," Dawson continues. "That is going to take time and action, not just words. But I see you trying, and that counts for something." He releases Trent's shoulder and turns to face the crowd. "All of you, this is what it looks like when someone chooses to be better. Not perfect, not forgiven, but trying." His gaze sweeps across the students, the teachers, the staff who watched him suffer and said nothing. We all have that choice, every single day. The question is whether we are brave enough to make it. At the back of the crowd, Ella watches in silence. She does not draw attention to herself, does not step forward to claim credit. This moment belongs to them, to Dawson and Trent, and the community that failed them both, and now has a chance to do better. When the ceremony concludes and the crowd disperses, she slips away toward the exit. Officer Price catches up with her in the parking lot. "You are leaving. My work here is done." Just like that, no goodbye ceremony, no thank you speech. Ella almost smiles. "I do not do goodbyes, and I definitely do not do speeches. What do I tell people when they ask who you really were? Tell them I was a leadership advisor who cared about her students." She pauses at her car door. "Tell them that sometimes the people who seem the most ordinary are the ones paying the closest attention." Price studies her for a long moment. "Will I see you again?" "Probably not." Ella opens the door. "But Officer Price, you did good work here. You trusted your instincts when it would have been easier to look the other way. The world needs more people like you." "The world needs more people like you. The world has plenty of people like me. They are just better at staying hidden." She slides into the driver's seat. "Take care of Mr. Dawson. He deserves better than what this place gave him." "I will." The car starts. The window rolls down one last time. "One more thing." Ella reaches into her pocket and pulls out a challenge coin, the one Dawson found in the air vent, the one that started all of this. "Give this to him. Tell him it belonged to someone who believed that one person could make a difference. And tell him to keep believing." Price takes the coin, turning it over in her fingers. When she looks up, the The car is already pulling away. The road stretches out before Ella, empty and full of possibility. In her rearview mirror, Brookdale Prep shrinks and disappears, becoming just another building, in just another town where she spent time being someone she was not. Her phone buzzes, a message from a number she recognizes. Mission complete, new assignment available, coordinates to follow. She pulls over to the side of the road and stares at the message. Behind her lies a janitor who has his dignity back, a bully who took his first steps toward becoming a better man, a corrupt principal facing justice, a criminal empire in ruins, small victories, incremental change. It is never enough, but it is something. She types her response, acknowledged, ready for next assignment. The reply comes immediately. Understood. Welcome back, Echo. She deletes the message and pulls back onto the road. Somewhere out there, someone else needs help. They do not know they need yet. Someone else is being crushed by a system that does not care. Someone else is being framed or bullied or silenced by people with more power and fewer scruples. And when they need her, she will be there. Because this is who she is. This is what she does. And the work is never done. The sun climbs higher as she drives, painting the highway in shades of gold and amber. She passes a sign marking the town limits of Brookdale, and for just a moment, she allows herself to feel something like satisfaction. Then the moment passes. Her phone buzzes again, coordinates this time. A small town she has never heard of, 3 states away. She adjusts her mirrors, checks her fuel gauge, and accelerates toward whatever comes next. In her pocket, another challenge coin rests against her hip, a reminder of where she has been, a promise of where she is going. The road unfolds before her like a story waiting to be written. And somewhere behind her, in a hallway that smells like floor wax and new beginnings, Henry Dawson looks at the coin officer Price just handed him. He turns it over in his weathered hands, studying the markings he recognizes from another lifetime. Who was she? Someone asks. Really? Dawson closes his fist around the coin and smiles. Someone who reminded me that one person can still make a difference. He slips the coin into his pocket, next to his heart. And someone I hope I never have to see again. Because if she shows up, it means someone somewhere is in trouble. He picks up his mop and returns to work. Outside, the autumn sun continues its climb. And somewhere on a highway heading west, a woman who has worn 100 names drives toward the next person who needs saving. Justice is not loud, it is patient, and so is she.
She was quiet. They looked at her, but she was the strongest person in the room. This is why we never judge people too fast. Real strength is quiet. Subscribe for more stories like this. Comment your thought below and share it with a veteran you know. Stay strong. See you soon in the next story.